Welcome back, everyone.
Another week, another episode.
Lori, how was your week, man?
Been good, been busy.
How did your tiny triumph of the week go?
Not great. I still haven't gotten the final samples for the winter collection, or the first samples. So couldn't do that this week, but hopefully next week.
We move. That's fine.
We just wait patiently.
So is that your tiny triumph of
yes,
this
I'll just
coming week?
Carry it over.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair. My tiny triumph for last week was going to the gym, getting back into the gym.
And?
That didn't go as well as I planned.
It's right.
But I did go once and it was lovely.
Very good.
It was a good, I literally went last night, guys. But it was such a good reminder of why I love going to the gym.
Okay, that's good.
So I'm excited.
And this week?
I've got some documents that I've had to design and I just
Procrastinating it?
I've been procrastinating it because I'm a perfectionist and I'm trying to understand how to get the wording like perfect.
Okay.
And that is killing me right now, but that's fine. I am going to do that this week.
Okay, perfect.
Actually very excited to do it. I'm just procrastinating.
Not getting to it.
No, I'm just scared.
It's okay, you'll face your fear this week.
I'll face my
and
fear
get
this
it
week.
done.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Perfect. That's fantastic.
What are your guys' tiny triumphs of this week?
Let us know.
Let us know.
And how did last week's go?
Yes, 100%. Okay.
Jumping right in.
So this week we have a very exciting episode planned regarding the season of becoming. And for us that is like the moment, the in-between moment that everything is still super messy, but magic. Mm-hmm. And I think those like moments shape you so much and shape your business and like help you grow so much.
Yeah.
You know?
I think both of us are very much at that stage, even on different like levels or different, areas of our life. But very much, or I can at least speak for myself, these last few months have really been a season of becoming. And it's a very tough season because it's not a destination, like there's no, you can't really see the end at the moment, but it's unfolding of a bunch of things.
100%. No, I completely agree. Is the past few months for me have been very slow and very much like the messy season of trying to figure out what are you doing type of thing, and what do I want to like grow my business into. And so I think it is a very important topic to cover because I think like we go through so many phases, and sometimes you're in the season of success, sometimes you're in a season of like confusion, but like those messy seasons really shape you and your business.
And
they're very important to like touch on.
Exactly.
I think it's necessary to also have grace with yourself in the sense of there's a season for arriving. Like I mentioned, like we're all in different seasons, right? And there are seasons for arriving, there are seasons for becoming, there are seasons for success. And I think it's very important to start with like the contrast between the arriving season and the becoming season.
Yes.
The arriving season for me is like that moment when you like start something new. It's that exciting part. It's that exciting season of, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to achieve all these things, I'm going to build this beautiful brand, or I'm going to build this beautiful business, or I'm going to build like something that's going to help so many people. And then you move into the season of becoming, where you have to put the actual work in and you have to deal with the actual problems. It's a season where I think we very easily get demotivated,
100%,
very distracted, and almost I kind of want to say to an extent like we lose our purpose, we lose our motivation. You kind of have to keep reminding yourself
that spark, that kind of like creative spark you had. And so I think you can kind of like season of becoming / season of waiting. It's exactly that. You kind of lose motivation. You're on top of this hill, super excited, and then suddenly you get in the valley again and you're like, oh shit, what am I doing?
100%. And it's those moments of like you said, like what am I doing? Because it's when you're not only like doubting in yourself, but other people are also doubting in you, or it feels like other people are like watching you and judging you and not believing in you. And you also lose belief in yourself to an extent. And so I think it's very important in that season to firstly like try and keep yourself motivated, excited. And this is a very good example of like, write yourself a letter when you're in that arriving phase and that excited phase. So when you get to that messy part, that you have something to go back to, and you can always just get a good reminder of, actually, this is what I'm working towards. Because you have to keep reminding yourself of what the end goal is and how much purpose it gives you at the end of the day, because otherwise it's going to be a crash and burn.
100%. Now that you said letter to yourself, I have just come out of a long season of becoming. I'm still in a season of becoming, let's be honest, but a very, very tough season of becoming. And my business turned 1 year old, and I made a video of like reflecting back and just looking back at excited Laurie, like Laurie who was so motivated and happy. It's not that I'm not happy now.
I'm so happy.
It was just a really tough few months. But looking back at that and seeing like the spark in my eyes and the excitement about pieces and collections, just reiterated to myself that I'm okay. Like I'm on this journey, and yes, it's a tough journey at the moment, but it's so exciting still. And that, yeah, exactly that. Just such a good reminder that you're not totally lost. You might just be working until that uphill again. It's just taking a little bit longer than we'd like.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think on that, you should not want to rush through the season, because the season is sacred and teaches you so much. You grow so much. And I think it is the people who can stick it out through these seasons that really, have the passion for the work or project or whatever. Yeah, I think that really shows if you're so passionate about it all. Yeah.
I really think about 90% of people give up in that messy season because it genuinely is so challenging. And it's easy for us to like tell people it's challenging until you get in that season and you experience it for yourself, type of thing. And I'm not trying to say don't do it.
No, please. I think we lose so much talent because so many people step out of the season.
Yeah, 100%. And it's self-doubt, and it's like doubt from external factors as well. And I promise you, like, a lot of that doubt isn't there because, like we said in previous episodes, like, people don't care as much as we think.
And I think something about this season is that there's so many growing pains that you experience throughout this season, which one that I really experienced was feeling behind and feeling like a little bit lost, feeling like, I've really had to train myself not to compare my business and things I'm doing to other businesses, because even though we're so different, we manage different, they've been open for a certain amount of time, I've been open for a certain amount of time, you kind of feel behind looking at like the speed they're going. And I'm sure they have seasons where they look at other businesses as well, even at mine maybe, and be like, oh my word, we're so behind because this person's keeps on going.
You know what's interesting on that point is you don't actually know what's going on in a business.
Not at all.
It comes back to like the social media part of things. It's just like a business wants to look like it's growing because then people want to be a part of it. They might not be growing. Exactly. They might not be doing anything.
Exactly.
But everyone, it's like that. They're just putting out this perfect picture about look how great we are and we're growing so quickly and we're doing this and we're bringing out new stuff and whatever. But are you actually doing anything? Are you actually achieving anything?
Exactly. And then I compare my business to it and I'm like, oh my word, I haven't put out a certain amount of things in a certain amount of time. I'm so behind. And rather than acknowledging the season I'm in and almost giving into the season I'm in and embracing it, you just want to rush through, and because you don't want to feel behind, you don't want to feel like you haven't made it.
100%. But rushing is not the answer.
No,
you're gonna unfortunately just lose on quality.
100%.
It is what it is. But once again, like, we compare ourselves to the perfect idea that other people are putting out there. That perfect does not exist. So like, we don't actually know what the problems are that are going on in other businesses. We don't know what people are dealing with, but we keep comparing our
circumstances and our journeys. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is wild, because now that I think about it, it's not just like us comparing ourselves to other people on social media, it's also businesses. We're comparing all these different things.
Yeah.
Just weird, cause I think a big part of the pain points and like the growing pains is also the fact that your identity doesn't necessarily match who you want to be anymore, or the lifestyle that you have, and you kind of have to like grieve those parts of you, those also like those habits, those people that you know that you technically have to remove from your life. They're not aligned with your vision. They're not aligned with the life that you're trying to build. And that is a very tough one to also like accept, I think, because you're letting go of people and things and habits that have played such a big part in different like other chapters of you. But now it's like time to move on, and it's time to like cut off things that don't serve you.
And you grew into those identities, like those past identities. And we often speak about, when I was teaching you in corporate, we'd speak about like that time of our life. And I think you do sometimes, especially when things get hard, look back and you kind of like, damn, I miss that Laurie, or I miss that now in corporate. But I know I've said this in previous episodes, your brain forgets the good, or the bad. Your brain forgets the bad. Get that right. So although you're grieving it, and although it, like you're sad, I have to constantly tell myself it wasn't all good. And that's why you left, that's why we're growing, that's why I'm chasing something else, because I know that's what I needed for me and for the life I'm building. But you do get moments where you're sad about it and grieve it, definitely.
No, 100%. It's like you said, like it's those versions of yourself that you miss. I miss the people, and I miss that like lifestyle and that carefree Donnell who could like spend money on whatever and like, you know what I mean, because everything was just in abundance. But there was obviously something that changed in me for me to want something better, for me to want a different life, for me to chase a different life. And so you have to keep reminding yourself that everything wasn't perfect, because if it was perfect, you wouldn't have wanted to get out of that space. And I think, like you said on the previous point, is you have to constantly kind of like look back at your progress, look back at what you've learned and how you've grown and your achievements. The big things, the little things, doesn't really matter. Just look back and say, actually, like, look at how far I've come, type of thing, because those are very important,
keep you going,
things to like keep you going, keep you inspired, and keep you like wanting more and like working towards whatever goal you have. And the thing is when you let go of those versions of yourself, it feels unsafe, it feels new, your brain isn't used to it, it's challenging, and you keep wanting to run back to those like safety nets and those habits because it's just so easy, right? And it feels so comfortable, but there's no growth in comfort, unfortunately. So we have to go through those phases of feeling unsafe. We have to almost change those spaces and make them feel safe, and I mean, it's going to take a while to get comfortable with that growth. But be uncomfortable in that growth, and know that it's going to be uncomfortable, it's going to be challenging, but there's like, you're going to grow so much from that. And now even just saying it, I'm like, wow, actually that makes me feel like so much better because it does feel so uncomfortable and it feels so scary to constantly be in those
times and moments. And I think that now we can shift the conversation to how do you conquer that stage of your business or life, and how do we build in that becoming stage? How do we build something? And to your point, like, you growing with it, and just like you growing your business or your creative passion, whatever you're chasing, should grow with you. And it's easy to look back with judgment on yourself and be like, why didn't I do more? Why didn't I, whatever, put things in place so I wouldn't be in this like waiting time? But you were operating at your capacity you were at. Like, you can't operate any more than you were able to at that stage. And as you grow and as you learn things, you get into the industry, get to know the industry, get to like your talents expand, your skills expand, your knowledge expands. The more you can operate in that space, the more you can take on like on higher level, which is difficult to remember in those times, but it grows with you, and that's what makes a business and personal and creative passion so beautiful.
100%. I think like a very, I hate this example so much, but I feel like it encapsulates the same thing. is, remember when you were in like primary school, right? For example, you like thought about high school and everyone would tell you high school is this, high school is that, and like it's so much work and you have to like work quick and whatever, and you would just think like, how is that even possible? Like how am I supposed to do more than I'm already doing? And then you get into like
that phase
of your life and you get to like grade 8, 9, 10, okay, you're like, okay, manageable, whatever, you get to that like development phase, and then in grade 10 everyone is like, oh, matric and grade 11, so wild. And then you get to that stage and you are developing, you're growing, and as you're learning. And
as you need to in life, like as the seasons roll in.
Exactly. And then get a matric and everyone's like, oh, you think this is hard? Try university. And then once again, we're like, oh my goodness, how is this even possible? Like, how are we supposed to learn even more, deal with more work and deal with more pressure than we're already dealing with? And then you get in that stage and you adapt. Like, almost seamlessly, like to an extent, almost seamlessly. Obviously it is hard and it is tough to like adapt, but it's possible type of thing. And I think that also just shows us how it is possible to adapt in so many things. It is possible to grow, and it feels like all those things are so out of reach, and it feels like all those things are so impossible, and surely I can't deal with more, and surely I can't deal with more pressure. And for example, like I can't start a business now while I'm working full-time. Why? Because I can't deal with more pressure. That is not true. You can push yourself to achieve whatever you want because you're going to grow while you build that.
And it's a thing, like, you know yourself, you know to what extent you can be pushed, what you can handle in the phase of life you are, you know, like what's on your plate, how much can you give to what. And I think that's important, to trust yourself as well and not trust just other people's opinions or the norm. But I think on that note, like knowing yourself, knowing your capacity, like what you can achieve and not, there is still pressure we put on ourselves around having it all figured out, knowing everything. And we spoke about this earlier episode as well, but I think it's something I still really struggle with. Like if someone brings up fashion, brings up new trends, brings up whatever, you know, anything in my business's line, I immediately tell myself, like, you should know everything. So if they bring up anything about fashion, ask my opinion, like I should have opinion. I should know what's coming next, what are the colors, and to be completely honest, I don't know everything because I'm so in my own lane and figuring stuff out as I go. And like certain things are important to me, certain things aren't in my personal life important to me. But there's a lot of pressure on having it all figured out, but it's so unrealistic because that's not the point. Like we're growing, we're learning, and especially in seasons like I was just in with, which is the becoming season or the waiting, it feels like you know nothing. It feels like you are actually back at square one. You know literally nothing, and then trying to pretend you had it all figured out, just it's a disaster.
It is 100%. The expectations we set are so important at the same time, because we set those expectations and we're so like focused on, okay, this is what I'm going to achieve type of thing, and this is how it's going to look, and this is how it's going to work, and this is how it's going to grow. That is unfortunately not how it works. It's not how it works in building a business. It's not how it works in life. It's not how it works in relationships or in career, etc., etc. There's going to be moments of pivot. There's going to be moments of change. There's going to be moments where you don't like reach those expectations, and you have to also just take a moment, take a step back and say, you know what, like,
let's breathe.
Let's breathe.
No, honestly.
But also like embrace those moments of pivoting. Realize that you maybe made an uneducated decision a few weeks ago or months ago, or your expectation that you set was uneducated, because your opinion is going to change the more that you learn, the more that you grow. So I think we should embrace the pivoting. We should embrace the change, and it's fine to change the vision that you had. It's fine to like pivot your business into something maybe a little bit different. Or let's say, for example, you're selling 2 different products, right? And the one product you're putting all into, and all your time and all your business and all your marketing and whatever.
Everything.
But then your second product is actually doing better. And it's a stupid example, but it's the same thing. It's like, okay, now I actually have to pivot my business because people don't want this, they want that. And then change your marketing, change your business plan, etc.,
Yes.
to that, because that's actually a solution for people's problems and not the one that you thought was going to be. So embrace that. And it is disappointing.
100%. And it will never not be disappointing, because then you don't care about it.
Yeah.
If you're not disappointed.
Yeah, 100%. But we also have to realize that you can start a business in anything that you're passionate about, fair enough, but if people don't need it, then they're not gonna support you. So at the end of the day, we are serving a client. You are serving someone. You are serving a problem, if that makes sense. So pivot.
It's okay. It's not
fine.
failure.
It's not failure, and it's not
The end.
It's not the end, exactly. It just means, okay,
The changing up.
it's not working. Let's change it up. Yeah.
But I think on that point, you need to kind of be able to be flexible and then change your voice or change your, shift your focus when you see something doesn't work and when you need to pivot. So, for example, I think, dress A is going to do really well, and I love that dress, and, I put lots of soul and heart into it. But it's just the product, or the product I launched with it, which I didn't think was going to do so well, did better, rather than obviously being outside. And it still does upset me. I'm not going to lie about that, because obviously you put a lot of heart and soul into a product, especially when you love it so much. But I can rather embrace the product that is doing well, and not that I necessarily don't like that product as much. It's a taste of it's like a moment of self-doubt. Do I know my community completely? Do I know who's buying products from me because I thought this one would do better than that one, or whatever? The point being, to be able to shift your mindset and then, promote that product people are liking, bring it out in different styles, in different colors, and whatever. That flexibility is really important in this space, to be able to continue and to move and grow from it. Yeah.
And I think it's interesting also to look at both our businesses, because you have a product-based business, I have a service-based business. And so even for me, the services that I thought were going to be my bread and butter are not. And so I've shifted my business and my focus towards the other stuff that are doing better. Unfortunately, that is life. Don't do something if you're not passionate about it. 100% fair enough. Try and change your product to then service a client in a better way.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But at the end of the day, you need to realize that your product or your service is a solution to a problem.
Yeah.
And that is why we have businesses. That is why businesses exist, right? Every business is a solution to a problem.
Yeah, solves a problem.
And so we need to understand our community. We need to understand our client base. We need to understand our potential clients. What do they actually need? What do they want? How can we improve their lives? How can we improve their businesses? How can we improve whatever it may be? So you have to think about it that way. And unfortunately, it's not just about you. And that's basically what I'm trying to say. And then I think throughout these phases, and this is the messy phase, right? You're trying to understand, am I pivoting? Am I staying? What am I doing? It's very important to just give yourself permission to be in the season of becoming, and accept that and embrace it. I think we as humans tend to be embarrassed of the fact that we are in a season of becoming. You're not in a phase where your business is super successful yet. You're not in a phase, where it is flights to Cape Town left, right, and center, or up in Europe. But and that's okay. We are technically all in a season of becoming, if you think about it. We're all just in different chapters.
And I think on that point, a lot, and you probably agree with this, especially in the beginning of my business, or when I was in this messy season, where I'm not still in it, but you understand. And I would chat to people about the business. I would really try to rush it off, because they're like, oh, can I see the website? Can I see the Instagram? I'm like, yeah, but haven't posted in a while, because we in this messy season, we in this in the trenches. Never have I been met with someone who was like, ugh, okay, sure, nothing is going on, Laurie, what's happening? But in my mind, I'm like, that's going to be the reaction. So I shouldn't even sound in the process. Like either I have to have it all figured out, I'm just going to shut up about it, like tell no one. And that's not fair towards the progress I have made this last year.
Yeah.
And also just for what's coming, like even with you and your business, like we should be loud and proud about it and not...
exactly, because it's in progress.
Exactly.
It's something that's going to be great.
And people they didn't ask you, are you the best at what you're doing? Like they didn't ask you do you have 1 million followers? They just asked about your business because they're interested and they care or they want to know.
Yeah.
It's not out of malicious intent. I
Exactly.
believe,
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And I also, like, I'm trying to figure out why we are so embarrassed of the season of becoming. It's like we have to be successful 24/7.
I think it's like the media and everyone around us tells us.
Yeah.
Social media, if you look at
You just open social media,
literally.
Yeah.
I was I actually watched a reel about it the other day because exactly that. Like you look at social media and you see these people in these perfect houses, perfect lives, love their job, have makeup done, dressed to the T, and then you lying in bed so unmotivated because you're just having a rough time. It just feels horrible.
It does feel horrible because we keep comparing ourselves, but I think the beauty of it is we don't all have to be successful at the same time. Like we can all work towards something.
And our levels of success look different.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to be a famous Adele who's like singing on stage. Like that's success to her, but it's not success to me.
Yeah, exactly. I think the illusion of social media and the world we live in basically is that everyone is constantly growing and progressing and doing better and making more money and doing this and doing that. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people are, and like hats off to them.
But a lot of people aren't.
And like we mentioned earlier, like some social media pages and some businesses, like it's a marketing strategy to look like you're growing at a wild speed. And it's a great strategy, don't get me wrong, but it's fake. You get what I'm saying? It's all an illusion. And I think it's just very important to take notice of that and like take a moment and realize actually it doesn't matter what these people are doing. It doesn't matter if that person is progressing. Am I progressing? And how am I progressing? If I am comparing myself to Laurie and Laurie's business, that would... Why would I do that? Because firstly, we are two different businesses. I am service focused, you are product focused. You started your business a year before me, or like almost a year before me. How
are you supposed to compare that?
How am I supposed to compare that? How am I supposed to compare our services, our success? It's impossible. We can't be comparing to each other because we have two completely different things that we are chasing.
And we're two different people. Like how I'm going to do it and run it and the amount putting in is different to to what you'll be able to. And I think that's where it's really important to be able to, in this space, sit in stillness with yourself, like alone, learn something about yourself, be uncomfortable, ask yourself difficult questions, like learn to not depend on anyone else's opinion and just sit with yourself. And I think that was really difficult for me. Like I want still in my life external validation. I think all of us kind of rely to extent on external validation, unfortunately.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting actually how much we need it. But anyway, the point is, I think the problem comes that only you can explain, and maybe you can't even explain, maybe you can only kind of understand why you're in that space, why you're struggling, why you're stuck, or whatever you want to call it. Because explaining it to someone, they're not going to completely understand because they're looking from a totally different perspective. And I think that's why it's important to be able to check in with yourself and also just keep yourself mentally strong through this time.
Yeah, I think actually a good point to make here is also just like take those social media breaks when you feel like comparison is killing you.
Yeah.
Because like you kind of have to go back to the drawing board in those moments, right? And actually figure out, okay, what is my drive? What is my passion? Why am I doing this? Because I get so like soul crushing.
Yes.
And
demotivated.
Yeah, demotivating when you actually like when you compare yourself to people on social media. And so I think it's very important to take those moments and realize, actually, you know what, I need a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
And a very interesting video that I watched this week about this chick on social media, and she's building her business, and she said once she blocked every single person that she knows from her business accounts.
Okay.
Then she started thriving. And that was a very interesting
It's an interesting take, yeah.
take on it, because fair enough. Like, if you are literally just posting things to strangers, it's almost easier
100%, I agree.
than it's like speaking in front of 10 people that you know and love compared to speaking to 100 people that you have never seen and met in your life. Like, it's easier to almost speak to 100 people, you know? And so maybe that is a good way to look at it, is block anyone who makes you feel uncomfortable, scared, who's holding you back, anyone who you think is judging you.
Yeah.
Because they're probably not judging you.
No, let's be real.
Let's be real. It's like, we speak about this often, is like, who is that person that when you post something that you think about instantly, being like, it's that person who's watching? And this could be anyone.
And you should actually ask yourself that question, because it's really scary who you think of sometimes.
Exactly.
Like, it's such an insignificant person probably in your life, but your mind's immediately like, oh, they're probably sitting watching you. Like, why do I even care? Like, why am I caring if they watch?
Yeah, 100%. I have 2 people, right? And I haven't spoken to them in years.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah.
But still, when I think about posting something, I'm like, they're going to see that. Do I care about their opinion about me? Unfortunately.
Well, yeah, obviously.
But does that matter?
Yeah,
no, it doesn't matter at all. Do they support my business? No. Do I
want them to support my business? Not even necessarily.
Not even necessarily. And I mean, like, this could be, like I said, it could be anyone. It's not an ex, just so by the way. It's like, by the way. But it's like someone who I've always looked up to, right? And but I know that their dreams and their vision does not align with mine. And so I'm kind of like, I feel that judgments even before posting that thing. And so I've taken times that I have blocked a lot of people and been like, actually, no. I don't want you to see my stuff, because that makes me feel uncomfortable. Everyone else feels like safe people, feels like, you know what, I can put this out into the world. But it's scary because I know you're seeing it, type of thing.
And I think, actually, I just remembered when I started my business, there is specifically one business that I followed like religiously, because it was kind of like, okay, cool, I want to see what they're doing, so that I can kind of, I don't want to say copy them, because I never did copy them, but you know, you kind of just derive inspiration and excitement from what they're doing, and you know, just something to work towards. But it got to a point where I no longer follow them, because it just made me feel stuck every single time I saw this, like, felt behind them, if that makes sense. And realistically, my business is far behind them, because our timelines look different. The amount of people that have in their business looks different. Like, a lot of things look different.
And the fact that they import looks different.
Fair. But I really needed to draw a line where I'm not looking anymore, because I felt depleted at a stage. Like, I'd look at their page the first thing in the morning, I'm like, nothing I'm going to do today is going to live up to that expectation.
Yeah.
And it's stupid, but it really gets to you, because I'm like, that voice in my head says, why aren't you doing that? Like, why aren't we there? And I think, as you said, it's actually such a good thing just to say, I'm not allowing that toxic things on my social media, in my mind, in my life, drawing boundaries. It doesn't matter if it's a person or business or whatever.
Exactly.
It's very important.
And I don't think it's toxic necessarily, but I think our brains make it toxic.
100%.
I mean, those people are not toxic. Those people I know support me, right? But I've just, for some reason, I feel uncomfortable. And so I think we need to realize which people are holding us back, which businesses are holding us back, who are we comparing ourselves to, and remove those people.
Yeah.
And that could be blocking them, it could be muting them, it could be removing them as a follower, it could be like you stop following them, whatever it may be, just so you have the confidence to like post, to go all in, because otherwise you'll be stuck. You are your biggest like enemy in those moments.
I agree.
Because you're scared of something stupid.
So stupid.
Yeah. And then I think also on your previous point that you made regarding the internal shifts that you're making that are not necessarily being shown like externally, right? Is you need to celebrate those as well.
100%. Yeah.
Celebrate the internal successes, because even if like the external part can't see it, even if the people can't see it, even if you can't be validated, is you need to validate yourself in those moments, and like celebrate those little victories. And even like, I think it's important to also share those little victories with people that you love and that know that they love you, and you know that they like celebrate you, you know.
I agree.
Because like you need to celebrate those things as well, and they keep you driven, they keep you excited and inspired and like keen to just grow and like take the next step and go for the external success then.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think wrapping it up with that, this season is really sacred, it's really important, and there's a space for this becoming season in your life, in your journey. The one thing I have to remind myself constantly is not everyone and not anyone else has to get it. Like it's about you and your journey. You're in control of this path you're walking, and it's hard, especially when you are sharing your life with someone, when you have friends who really care and want to be parts of this journey and, you know, ask you about it. Not having anyone else get it puts a lot of pressure on yourself internally, but that's okay because that's safe pressure. Like you just need to figure it out, and you need to be okay with it and validate yourself. But yeah, taking the pressure off of having to explain to people, have people, you know what's going on. Yeah, it definitely helps, I think.
100%, but it is tough when no one, it feels like no one gets it, because I feel like then it's almost like a debilitating pressure that you put on yourself. It's like, okay, no one gets it. Like, am I being stupid?
Exactly.
Am I making the wrong decisions? Am I chasing the wrong goals? Because how can no one get it? Like, in my head, it makes sense, type of thing.
Yeah.
So how do you find that balance? But I agree with you. Like, you have to make your mind a nice place to be.
Yeah, I agree.
And a safe space to be, because it's really important, especially in the season of becoming, where it is really hard to explain the season that you're in to a random stranger. So I think we need to get rid of the stigma of like the messy season and the season of becoming, that it's a bad thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a phase where not only we grow, but our businesses grow, our standards grow, our vision grows, our goals grow. So stop seeing it as a bad thing. Unfortunately, like, it is a hard thing. But it's a beautiful thing.
Doesn't make it bad.
I would always say that the season of becoming is like a sacred season. That you need to prioritize boundaries. You need to prioritize still taking the time for yourself and resting and creativity and staying inspired. And I mean, we've touched on all these things throughout this episode, but just see it as a sacred space. See it as an exciting space. Keep reminding yourself of your purpose, of the goal. Exactly. Keep reminding yourself of your why, because that's, at the end of the day, what's going to drive you.
I agree with you, And I think let's wrap it up with a few thoughts to run with, so that you can go think about it as well, and the season of becoming. So my question to you would be, what's something you can do today that your future self would be thankful for?
Ooh.
And I think future self, put yourself in, like, if you are in a slump, in the season of becoming, or not in a slump, in the season of becoming. We are changing the narratives of it being bad. What are you doing today in that season that when you're again on top of the hill, when you're excited again, when it's, you feel more motivated, what are you going to be thankful for? That you did now.
100%.
Whether internally or externally. I think internally is more important right now, but
Yes. I agree. And then my question would be, what parts of yourself do you feel like you're outgrowing? What parts of your life, which relationships, which goals, which parts of yourself don't align with who you are anymore? Which parts of yourself don't align with your goals anymore? And I think it's important to kind of like spend some time with yourself and figure that out, because as soon as you remove those habits, those people, and those parts of you, it's so much easier to grow, and it's so much more exciting to grow. I'm not saying that it's not going to be hard, because you almost want to keep running back to that safety, but you basically allow yourself so much space for growth if, like, you're replacing those habits with growth.
I agree.
So yes,
Good luck.
good luck. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode. Please let us know if anything we said resonated with you.
If you have your own opinions about it, maybe you're in a season of it.
Yeah, 100%. Please share. But thank you guys so much.
Goodbye.
Have a good week. Bye. Love you. Bye.